Like many people, our next guest noticed his weight creeping in over the years. Jonathan Cairns found himself at age 46, overweight, unfit and utterly fed up.
Now, while going through a painful separation, he decided to put on a pair of runners and hasn't stopped running since. He's lost an incredible 3 stone and released a book to show how to eat and exercise yourself into a better place. Jonathan, you're very welcome.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning. It's an inspiring story, and as you said to us before we came on air, it's not really so much about where you are now, but it's the beginning, it's starting, it's the journey.
It is, absolutely.
So take us back to what we could describe as dark days. You were utterly fed up. What was the moment where you went, no, I need to change this?
Well, it was about 10 years ago. Everything seemed to be going wrong. I was going through a separation which was very bad. I mean, at the time we had no communication skills, and when we separated we only dealt with each other through lawyers and judges. So when we had 3 small children, also business-wise I'd just gone bust. So I saw a photograph one time, it was New Year's Eve, and I thought, that can't be me. And then I looked at all the other photographs from that night and I thought, oh my God, that's what I look like. And I realised that maybe I just saw myself for the first time as I actually am, or as I was. And I thought, I really need to do something. My energy was really low. And I didn't want to be the kind of person who was watching my kids sort of from the window, because I only had them then every second weekend on whatever the judge had said. So it was... I wanted to be full of beans and like chase around the garden and do whatever it took.
But you were doing, Jonathan, what so many women and men are doing now, which is you were working very hard, you're travelling a lot, and you're eating at airports or hotels or on the go, and it means that there's no real meal prep or thought going into your meals.
Or exercise plan.
Yeah, absolutely. There was none of that. I mean, I spent an awful lot of time on airplanes, airports. I was in the US working at least 1 week every month, and I just forgot about food and I forgot about eating. It was just necessary. And I always thought I was too busy to exercise. So it just never happened. And then that time I realised from that photograph that, oh my God, what's happened to me?
So where did you start? In terms of, was it your diet or was it exercise or was it a combination?
Oh no, it was exercise. I started by... at night time, because I was afraid somebody might see me and like might laugh. So at night time, I put on a pair of runners and I went for a run from the front door. And I was afraid that if I did anything else, I'd have too much time to talk myself out of it.
Right.
So I just left the house and I just ran around the block, and I survived it. I jogged. I mainly walked and jogged and walked and jogged, and it was just so difficult. But that's where I began.
Well, most people would say, oh, I can't run, or I don't run, or I don't enjoy running, or, you know, I'm sore after it. Yeah. So you must have felt like that. Oh,
all that applies to me, yeah. Like, I couldn't run. I mean, I could barely walk. Like, I give jogging a bad name. I looked terrible. I mean, at one stage, a neighbour, like, pulled up in a car and asked me, was I OK, when I was leaning over a wall. Like, I looked a state. I was a state.
But what was driving you? Why did you go out the next night?
Well, after seeing that photo, I decided that I made a commitment to myself that I'm going to do this 3 times a week until I feel better. And I did it 3 times a week, regardless.
And that's a very realistic way to approach it, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was just 30 minutes, 3 times a week. And what I did was I walked for 60 seconds, and then I tried to jog for 30. And I'd be jogging for the 30, looking at my watch, thinking, oh, how many more seconds have I got to keep doing this for? And that's how I started and how I went. And
then, at what point did you say, right, I now need to look at diet? I'm going to ramp up the exercise slightly, but now I need to look at diet.
Well, I started to then notice that I can't run tonight as well as I could, or jog, last night. And I thought I've put it down to what I ate that day.
Right, very good, yeah.
So slowly I started to realise that certain things made me feel full of energy and certain things made me feel awful. So, like, in the book, everything in it I have tried and done and works, and I've taken out what doesn't work. But I couldn't find a book at that time, and I searched. And, I mean, I read everything I can get my hands on in relation to running, to diet and health, but I couldn't find anything that would show me how to do it. Lots of things told me how, but nothing... Nobody said, this is how I did it.
Yes. So there was a clear gap in the market.
Yeah, and they probably didn't say how they felt while they were doing it as well.
No, probably not. No, it is very personal, yeah.
When you go from running around the block 3 nights a week to doing a marathon, your first marathon, of which you've now done 16.
Yeah.
Tell us about that first marathon. Was that just a bucket list thing you wanted to do, or was it a goal you'd set yourself?
No, it was a goal because I never wanted to run. Like I was a person who I never liked running. I couldn't run.
Yeah.
Like I didn't see the point. But the marathon was something that I had to set a goal because otherwise, after 3 months of doing this 3 times a week, I was starting to think, well, what am I doing it for? And once I did that, then I had to rank it up, and I had a target, and it got real then.
And where was the first marathon that you ran?
It was actually in Rome.
Right.
And the reason why I picked Rome is because nobody would know me.
So the footage that we're seeing here, Jonathan, can you...
Yeah, that's where I'm jumping up and down. That's actually an ultra marathon in Portumna. It was a 50k, and that one there, that's the Deborah half marathon. That's actually on tomorrow.
Oh, the charity.
Yeah.
Yes. Brilliant. So, did you feel once you got fit and your diet changed, everything else in your life starts to get better?
Well,
Not that
I started to get
everything,
headspace.
but...
I started to get to be able to think clearer.
Yeah.
And once I started to think clearer, I wanted more of it, and people would say to me, "Did you change your hair or did you shave or something?"
It was actually you changed.
I was, and I was losing weight as well. So I was starting to feel brighter. And once people started to notice, like it wasn't clear what had changed with me, but when people started to notice, I started to feel there's something going on here.
Yeah.
And then when I started to train for the marathon, I started to notice everything that I ate, and I started to slowly change.
So tell us about the diet, the plant-based diet. Where do you start with that, Jonathan?
Well, with that, it was what worked for me. Like, at the moment, if I used to eat an awful lot of meat, like that was my diet. Like, I'd be in an airport and I'd have a steak, like that lovely sirloin you had there that smells lovely, and a bottle of wine, and that would be my dinner. And it got to be a daily dinner almost.
Yeah.
And I found that after 3 days, even after having a steak, I'd get a stitch. So I stopped eating meat, and I found that I had so much more energy. And not only that, but I started to lose weight. Like for the next year, I lost about £1 pound a month just from not eating meat. So I cut out meat altogether. Now, I still eat fish and I eat eggs, but I just, anything that hasn't worked, I just move to the side. And I just don't do it anymore.
Very disciplined.
Yeah.
You know, you're making it sound easier than it actually is in reality to do it. You know, you showed a level of commitment that a lot of people can't get to.
I had good motivation.
Yeah.
Like my motivation was my kids. I had 3 young kids. I was seeing them not often enough as I wanted to. So I had to make that count. And once I had that, any time a question like, why am I doing this tonight? Like it's lashing rain. It came back to that.
Yeah.
So, well, congratulations.
Absolutely.
You look incredible, and continued success.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in and sharing your story.
The plant-based runner is out now. Jonathan Cairns, there's the book cover on screen.
Great. Could I just say it's on Amazon.co.uk.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Done.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jonathan.